Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Honeypot. That is the Guns and Yellow Ribbons preview podcast. Tonight, there's myself, Ilsey, with Fergus and Dell. We're going to talk about the Premier League this weekend because the Premier League is back. I cannot wait. Here we go. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
The honeypot. The honeypot. The honeypot of shocks. Well done, Trevor. Well done, Trevor.
Listen, welcome everybody to the Honeypot. That is our wonderful preview show. I love doing this. I love talking about what's coming up at the weekend. Missed it badly last week. Really missed it badly last week. There's nothing like the Premier League, is there? You know, nothing at all like the Premier League. Ferg, how you doing, mate?
I'm not bad. We've had lots of stuff going on at home, like with cats and vet bills, and I'm 4 figures down with the old vets, and I've got a cold. I've got myself a whiskey. It's Friday night. It's been a horrendous month at work, but it seems to be settling down. But otherwise, yeah, I'm looking forward. Can't wait for tomorrow. Can't wait for tomorrow. Dale will be in the local pub, usual pints, usual table, usual friends. It's going to be good fun.
Wish I was going. But once again, family business has tied me down tomorrow, which I don't mind at all because family first. But I will be on that aeroplane to Lisbon first thing Sunday morning. Dell, how you doing, mate? You had a good week?
Not bad at all, thanks, buddy. Very much like yourself. Excited for the return of the Premier League tomorrow and the Arsenal as well. It feels like a lifetime, and it's good to see some familiar names in the chat as well because I've seen on Twitter people saying like, "Oh, where you boys been?" It's I think I've missed you two as well, without sounding too sloppy. So looking forward to tomorrow, boys.
I'd like to say that I miss you too as well, but it'd be bad of me to lie about those kind of things. So we won't tonight. Listen, just before we go into the preview, we're going to take a minute, right? Because one thing I've got to talk about, boys, is I know we're going to talk about the score in a bit, but I just want to move tomorrow's game just to another perspective for a couple of minutes. I'm honestly getting the feeling that tomorrow's game for the Arsenal is season defining. I really think if we don't get a win tomorrow, then it absolutely defines how our season is going, and it's going to make it all that bit harder to turn around. Just come back to me on that point, Ferg, and we'll move on, mate, and talk about the rest later.
I must admit, I put some comments in a couple of podcasts. I was watching Sophie's one with Lee and watching Tom Canton and so on, and I asked the question, failure to win tomorrow, is at the end of any aspirations of a title challenge? And the other question I said is, failure to win tomorrow, are we then in a battle for top 4 place? Because that 3rd, 4th place is a messy old battle. I don't think Liverpool, and we'll get into it without going into it, I don't think Liverpool have met a lot of proper opposition. Like, we were unlucky not to win against them. And I think they will still have a slip up. They're still going to play City twice, etc., etc. So there's a lot of football to be played, but we have to win.
Yeah. I mean, if we don't get a win tomorrow, it's not the end of our season, but by God, it makes it a very difficult one to turn around. Whereas if we get the win tomorrow, we're up and running again. We're on the front foot, and you can see anything happening, can't you? What do you reckon, Del?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, you may remember me saying this is kind of like a reset switch. It's almost like starting the season again. No silly red cards, no daft injuries. We've got a lot of players back from injury, so I kind of agree. I don't think it's season defining, but I do think if we don't win and Liverpool do win, I do think that is probably the end of our title race. I hate to say that because one thing people seem to be doing is underestimating Liverpool. You're right, they haven't had as tough a run as what others have, but I've got to give them credit for what they have done. Like you say, we should have beat them, but we didn't, and that's partly down to them as well as us. So I think it's a very, very, very important game, and I expect, and I do think we'll get the 3 points, which we'll come on to later.
We've got that lovely. I love that we've done that. We've sowed the seed there, people. We will come back and talk more about our glorious club right towards the end of the podcast, but I just wanted to get that out in the open. It really is an important game. So, boys, the first game tomorrow, Leicester v Chelsea, right? Chelsea are flying, aren't they? You know, Leicester, middling, underperforming, maybe. I don't know. Ferg?
Well, Chelsea have just won one of the last 7 Premier League games following an international break. So, you know, it would be nice for them to have a slip up. But Leicester, they're winless in 13 Premier League games, I believe. They've drawn 3, lost 10. I can't see anything here but an away win to Chelsea. I think it's 2-0 to Chelsea. Chelsea are looking like they're growing as a team and they're starting to gel. You can see at the end of Poch's reign that they were starting to click, and this guy, the former Leicester manager, I can't remember his name correctly at the minute. He seems to be doing a good job in carrying that on. So 2-0 Chelsea.
We say every week, don't we, that Chelsea are surprising us. We didn't think they'd go so well. One person that surprised me this week, Dale, was Madueke. I thought that he had a blinding game for England. I thought some of the overreaction from these idiots at TalkSport about him challenging Saka was a bit off. Was a bit out of order, actually. I didn't think it was needed. But I thought Madueke looks a different player for England than he does for Chelsea. He looks twice the player. So if he starts hitting that form for Chelsea, they could do anything, couldn't they? Del, how are they going to do this weekend, mate?
It's a good question, and I think people are again a team. They're a team that get underestimated because they've been poor for the last few years. At some point, it had to click. They've got too much talent for it not to. The only one I hope that doesn't click is Mudryk, because he was twerking for us for so long and decided to go for the money. So, but other than that, yeah, I can see a hatful of away goals here. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Chelsea win.
Yeah,
what about yourself, Trev? What are you thinking on this one?
Well, I'm letting me heart roll my head a little bit here, and I'm hoping that Leicester kick into a bit of form. Chelsea maybe have a little bit of a slump after the international break, and I'm hoping that Leicester get a point. I'm going for 1-1, but that's a hopeful 1-1, not a positive 1-1, I might add. We're going to move for it pretty quick tonight because we want to try and keep it to an hour, people, you know.
Trev, to remind people as well, though, like Adam's put his prediction in there. There's people on Twitter. You can make a comment in there as well. Go on.
Listen, I'm getting there. Don't start now. It's early days yet, Fergus. Don't make me take you out of this stream, you know what I mean? I could do it, you know. Listen, but
I've missed you, boys. I really have.
Fergus is exactly right. It's lovely to see your score predictions coming up in the comments, and also your comments as well on how good my predictions are and how bad Fergus and Dale's are. So please keep them coming in the predictions. Next one, South Coast Derby, boys. Bournemouth v Brighton. 2 teams that have been playing really well this season. I reckon this is going to be a cracking game at Bournemouth. I really do. Dale?
Yeah, I was saying for weeks when Bournemouth beat us, I thought it was just a bit of a lucky result, truth be told. But then they've gone and done it again, haven't they? They've pulled some right results out of the bag. That being said, Brighton are a bit of an unknown entity. That you never know what Brighton's going to turn up. I think with it being a bit of a derby, I'm going to go for a close game on this. I do think it'll be entertaining, but I've gone for a 1-1 draw here.
Yeah, well, you can make a case for that, but as you rightly said, Dale, Bournemouth have been absolutely flying, especially against the big clubs, Ferg.
Yeah, they have. They beat us. They beat Man City. They've won 3 on the bounce at home. They've never in their history won 4 on the bounce at home. Brighton, they've won 3 of the last Premier League games out of the last 5, drawn 1 and losing 1. They're on such a good winning streak. I think Liverpool are the closest with a similar sort of run. But I'm with Dale. I think it'll be a cracking game, but I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I'm going for a 1-1 draw as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you know what, Ferg? I'm just disagreeing with the Perry. I think Bournemouth on their current form are going to nick it at home. I've got Bournemouth to beat Brighton 2-1. I just think they're going to be the better team at home, although I think it's going to be a game worth watching, to be honest. So the next one then, right, my mates up in the Midlands, Aston Villa, up and down they've been recently, started really well, but had a couple of wobbly results. I'm against Crystal Palace. Ferg, surely this is a chance for Villa to get back to winning ways with an easy win against Palace, isn't it, mate?
Nah, they're in trouble. They got Eddie Nketiah to contend with, haven't they? Sorry, I shouldn't be disingenuous.
You're out of order, Ferg. You're out of order.
Yeah, I know, but I was never a huge fan. Look, they've lost only once in 12 Premier League games against Palace. They don't concede many goals against Palace. Palace struggling to find the back of the net. I don't know what's wrong with Palace at all, because they have some good players. I think since the loss, the chap that went over to Bayern Munich, it's that sort of gel between him and Eze it's just not quite working. They've got some really good players, and Gea in defence and so on. But what Unai Emery is getting out of Aston Villa is absolutely fantastic. They have gone through their little bit of a blip over the last 3 or 4 games. I think they haven't had a result in the last 3 games, but I've gone for a Villa win, and I've gone for 3-0 to Villa.
3-0. 3-0. Heath's gone for 4-0 in the chat there. Dal, how many are Villa going to win by?
It's going to be 2-0. Just to touch on a few points mentioned there. Palace, I think, have only got 7 points out of the first 11 games, which is poor. And one of the issues they have is scoring goals. You can put a pin on anybody. Truth be told, they do struggle to score goals. And with that being said, I can't see them going to Villa Park and even scoring, let alone getting a result. That being said, though, Villa are in a poor run of form. I think they've lost their last 2. So with that in mind, I think Villa are going to bounce back. And I've gone for Aston Villa to win 2-0 here.
Yep, I'm with you, Dale. Exactly with you, mate. I think this is a prime opportunity for Villa to gain a bit of form. Emery will have spent this international break sorting out his squad, I'm sure, because he's a clever manager. And I've gone for Villa to win 2-0 as well. And I can't see Palace getting anything out of the game. Now, the next one, right? I like this game. I like Everton v Brentford, because Everton are a team of battlers and Brentford are a team of battlers. And I can see in this being a right high-tempo game. Everton at home are going to be thinking we must keep winning our home games because we're in trouble. Brentford are comfortable and just playing really well. We're arguably at Brentford the best young manager in the Premier League behind Arteta. You know, he's right up there, Thomas Franks. So Everton v Brentford at Goodison, the last season at Goodison, the last time Brentford will play there. What do they come away with, Dale? Anything?
I can't see anything in Everton winning. I think, if I'm right in thinking, Brentford have lost all their away games this season. I don't think they've got anything away from home at all. But I do like them. I think their manager is massively underrated. He was linked with a Man United job at some point, and I'm glad he didn't go there, because that would have put a nail in his career. But I do like him. That being said, I think Everton at home are going to have a little bit too much. They seem to have found a little bit more form, playing more as a unit after a slow start to the season. So I'm going for an Everton 2-1 win here.
Ferg, Brentford or Everton, son?
I've got to go Everton. Home win, as you said. Everton have to win at home. They need get your win your home games, and try not to lose your away games. And well, you'll stay up first of all if you're Everton. They need to go into that new stadium in the Premier League. They can't go in there in the Championship, because if you go into the Championship, it's a bloody hard place to get out of. Brentford haven't been great this season. They're 11th in the league. You know, they've drawn 1, lost. So their last few games haven't been great. Everton struggled to beat Brentford, first of all, losing the first 3, and now they've won the last 3 against Brentford. But Brentford don't keep a clean sheet against Everton. So I'm going Everton 2, Brentford 1.
Really, boys. You see, I don't know why I've got this in my head, right? I've got it in my head that Brentford are going to win 1-0 at Everton tomorrow. And that's my prediction. That's my prediction for Brentford to win 1-0 at Everton. But I honestly hope I'm wrong, because I like Everton. I want Everton to stay up. Like Ferg just said, I like the trip to Goodison and hopefully the trip to their new ground. Although their new ground is going to be the only ground in the Premier League with lifeguards, I reckon. Have you seen the pictures of it? All the water all around it.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that last? Can you imagine that last game of the season? How many people are going to go in the drink?
How many people are going to go over the side and into that water? I'm taking my life vest when I go. I'm telling you.
I think what they need to do up there is bring Fred's map. Do you remember Fred's map? And stick that beside it so people can jump onto it.
So anyway, that's you two boys going for Everton. I'm reluctantly going for Brentford. I hope that I'm wrong, but something in my head is telling me that Brentford are going to nick a win there. Now, the next one, right? The next one, Fulham Wolves, right? Or the Arsenal B team v Wolves, right? Fulham playing well. The ex-Arsenal boys are flying. Every week, Emil Smith-Rowe makes me more and more fed up that we sold him because he seems to be playing better and better and better week in, week out. And I love that lad. So I can't see Wolves getting anything at Fulham. Can you, Ferg?
Wolves are struggling. You know, I think what have they had? Looking at here, they've drawn 2 games this season, or 3 games this season. They got their first win last week. It's really, really tough. Fulham, if it was Wolves, it was Fulham away, possibly, but I think Fulham at home, as you said, Arsenal B when they're at home, Arsenal D when they're away, as Dan would say. I've gone for Fulham 3, Wolves 1.
Right, yeah, I can see your reasoning there, Ferg. I can see your reasoning there. Dal, are you disagreeing?
I can't disagree. Sadly, there's a couple of key stats that stand out here for me. So Wolves have lost 7 in the last 10 away in London, so that doesn't bode well at all. But to top that off, they've only won 1 in the last 8 against Fulham away. So that being said, I can't see them getting anything out there, and I think the Wolves have got to start being really worried about going down this year. I really do. I think they've got goals in the tank. I really do, but I can't see anything in the Fulham win. So I'm going to go for a Fulham 2-1 win here, but I think it'll be easier than the scoreline suggests. I'm predicting
2-1. That's closer than I thought you was going to say there, Dal. I'm with Fergus here. I can't see Fulham losing here, and I think they'll score a few. I've gone to Fulham to win 3-0, and I wouldn't surprise me if there's a few more goals scored. And I hope the ex-Arsenal boys.
It was a cracking game last season. I think it was a 3-2 last season.
Yeah. Was it? I can't remember that, Ferg. Too long ago.
I got it written down here.
Well, you know, I'm not at home in the studio.
I know.
I've got absolutely nothing, but I'm reliant on you boys, and you're helping me out so far. So that's all of us have gone for a Fulham win there, and I can't see it going any other way, to be honest. Now the next game, right? The next game. 2 teams bang out of form, aren't they? And I can actually say that without people saying, "Oh, he's only saying that because it's Tottenham and Man City." They are 2 teams that are bang out of form.
I wouldn't say they're bang out of form. I said they're indifferent in form. Both are indifferent.
Well, it's my show, so I'm saying they're bang out of form. So you take that figure.
I'll check see who pays the bill, shall I?
I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show, actually, man. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. Man City, I said weeks ago they were nicking wins, and then they've gone and lost their last 2, I think, haven't they? And then we all know what Tottenham are like. I mean, they've just been playing awfully, haven't they? And I don't know whether the manager's lost the team or whether the owners having an input. I don't know, but Tottenham really aren't playing very well. So, Man City, Tottenham, I should get excited about it, but I can't. I can't, Dale. I can't get excited about it, mate. What about you?
I could never get excited about anything that involves them lot down the road. But no, I can't see anything other than a City win here. I mean, City, I think they've only won 3 out of the last 10 against Spurs. But that being said, this game here, Spurs have got, I think I saw they've got no centre halves. Both their centre halves are injured for this game, which means they play a high line at the best of times. And against that Man City side, there's no way on earth Pep is going to want to lose this game, because would it be 5 in a row? If am I right in thinking that if City go and lose this game now?
It could have been, mate.
Yeah.
I just got to correct you on something there, Dale. Tottenham didn't have to have their centre halves injured. They had no centre halves anyway. Their fans said they had centre halves. They said they had the best centre half in the Premier League, and look where that got them. So I've got to pick you up on that, Dale, my son. I know you got centre halves. Not a chance.
Yeah, I'll gear that one, mate. I'll gear that one. The thing is, I mean, I hate to say it, but they're always capable of scoring a goal. But I just don't think they've got enough in it for this game. I really don't. There's not a chance on this planet they're going to beat City. City, they're not going to want to lose 5 in a row. Guardiola's just signed a new contract. Haaland got a hat-trick on the international scene the other week. I can't see anything than a City win here. I'm going to go all out and go 3-1 City.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. Now then, Fergus, listen, I've just got to warn you, Ferg, right? This hand He's lurking over the delete Fergus from the podcast button, right? So we're going to come to you, Ferg. Think very carefully. Manchester City v Tottenham, my son.
Well, Tottenham have lost, just won 2 of their 11 away games this, in the Premier League. Nobody's lost more away games than any other team but Spurs. Man City are indifferent, as I said, as well. My local pub is full of West Ham, Arsenal and Tottenham, and just chatting to them what they're expecting. I think the Tottenham fans are realistic and thinking they're probably going to get beaten. But you know what? They are type of weird, and this sort of game is weird. As Chan said, Tottenham can be a bogey team. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up scraping a point or even getting a 1-0 victory. But realistically, let's be sensible here. Man City are going to smash them 4-0.
Oh, that's better, Ferg. That's better. Do you know what? I've gone even one higher, Ferg. I've gone for Man City to beat Tottenham 5-0. I think that Tottenham's defence will allow Manchester City in front of their half a dozen fans at home to their strikers to pick up the weather again and score some goals, and they'll bang a few past Tottenham.
I like what Mark says here. I expect a City win would be hilarious, especially with Pep signing this new deal with loads of get-out clauses that nobody's talking about.
Absolutely.
If Spurs did, it would actually chuckle. It would make me chuckle, and it would give them those fellas over the pub a false sense of hope that we're back. We beat City in the League Cup. We beat them away. We're back.
You listen to me. Your X would be alive with them again. They've been very quiet last few weeks, but if they beat City, they'll be back flying. But listen, I can't move on from this game. We've got a bit of time. So we've heard this week that the Premier League's won a court case. Man City lost the court case.
Good.
Can any of you not work out what the hell it's all about? Because I can't.
Yeah. So you know when Man City got an airplane sponsored them for £400 million, and then they got they named that airplane and they got another. I'm making up figures here, £400 million, and then they decided to put like tea bags with Man City or Etihad sort of labels on in the training ground. They got another £200 million, and all of this sort of overzealous sponsorship by companies who have a shared interest with the owners of Man City, pumping loads of money into the club to bolster their funds. And Newcastle, Villa, and Nottingham Forest, I believe, were the other side. No, Newcastle, Forest, City, and I think it was Aston Villa actually.
I think it was Villa,
were the 4 teams that voted that they wanted these rules to remain, and the rest of the Premier League have said no. Listen, you can see what's happening with Newcastle because of these new rules that have kicked in. Their hands are tied behind their back. There's talk about the owners there because of the lack of turnover are looking to make a move for Tottenham and maybe buy Tottenham because they can spend more money because they've got bigger turnover. But City and Chelsea prior to them were able to do all this prior to all the FFP and PSR rules. And that's how City have bought 4 titles, 115 charges. Chelsea done it before them. They were a shit club with no history beforehand, with a stadium that was falling down around them, with a dog track around it, and they've bought history. They bought European titles. They deserve no credit. I actually liked City before because they were a genuine Manchester local team that people supported, and there weren't people who were from all over the world like Man United fans from Surrey. But Man City fans now, we've been up there several times in the Etihad, and there are the old faithful there, and fair play to them. They stick with their club through thick and thin, and they're loving it at the minute. And as a City fan, a genuine City fan, you would be delighted. But as what we see in there is just mostly just half and halfers and day trippers. Look at it. The trip back down from City was half and half scarves the whole way down, and everybody was going back to London hotels.
Ferg, listen, don't you ever have a go at me for waffling on again, son.
Oh,
I was waiting for the Fergus time banner to come up then.
I was waiting for it to run out of oxygen, Dale, and just pass out in front of us, to be honest with you. But no, listen, I don't understand it all, but it would appear that there's been a lot of backdoor dealings going on, and before other clubs have started really doing it effectively, the Premier League have stopped it. So where that leaves it all, who knows? We'll just see how it all goes. But what I do know,
the definition of a plastic club, they really are. It's like they are so.
Well, you know what's a disappointing thing is? City are anything but a plastic club because their core 25, 30,000. When they were in League Two, they were bringing 20,000 to home games and 4,000 to away games.
The City people know and see now are not that City anymore. It's like that City doesn't exist anymore. They've been brought and manufactured by this oil money that has just completely changed who they are. That City of Main Road, they had an identity. They were a football club. This one isn't. These guys here are oil barons who are buying success and have no history. They have no class.
Well, their owners clearly have. Hang on, Trevor. Their owners clearly have.
Hang on a minute.
Hang on. Their owners clearly have no.
Jerry.
They have no respect or understanding of their core fan base, because as one of those guys who's been going for 30, 40 years before there were oil barons, and when they were crap, they were going there. But if they die or if they can't afford their season ticket, that season ticket dies with them, and nobody else can buy one. It has to go back onto the ticket market. They are going to reduce the season ticket holders just to make it a pay-as-you-go sort of thing. They're no more. Yeah, they just wind me up. Why did you do this
conversation? Why did I start that conversation? All I will say is that the City fans that they've got now that are celebrating every week, you can't blame the fans, because us fans are fickle creatures. We look after our own teams, and if we didn't look after our own team so much and we cared more about the whole football world, then the Premier League and the PGMOL would be in shock right now, because we'd all come together and change things. But we don't. We look after our own teams. We favour our own teams, and you can't blame City fans for celebrating every week like they do, whether they bought it or not. But I still don't like it. I still don't like it at all. But we have to move on, boys. We have to move on, right? I think that this is Southampton v Liverpool the next game, but the way I'm seeing it, it's going to be more like Aaron Ramsdale against Liverpool, isn't it? He's going to have a proper busy afternoon, is Aaron Ramsdale, or is a shock on the cards, Dale?
I can't see it, mate, truth be told. I think Arne Slot, I think, has won 9 of his first 11 games. If he wins this one, he equals the record of getting to 10 games, which is with Hiddink and Ancelotti. So he's going to want to go all out. They're going to want to take advantage of City playing against Spurs. You've also got if you're a Liverpool fan, you're looking at the Arsenal, you're going to sit there and go, well, this is a game they can drop points in, despite us knowing we're not going to drop points in it. They're going to think they're going to think they can make something out of it this weekend. The last Premier League round, we dropped points, City dropped points. They didn't. And that's going to be in their head again. That's exactly what's going to be in their head. So that being said, I think Liverpool are going to, Aaron Ramsdale's in for a long old afternoon. And I'm going to go for a comfortable Liverpool 3-1 win.
Ferg, listen. Can Aaron Ramsdale be inspired? Can he come off the back of your door and sling himself left and right for 95 minutes and stop everything that Liverpool are thrown at him, Ferg?
I think he can. It depends about the 4 guys in front of him as well. If they can do their job, that's half his problem. Because a goalkeeper, a lot of the time, is only as good as their the defence in front of them. Southampton have lost 9 of their 11 Premier League games. Liverpool, last time out in May 2023, was 4-4 in this game. I don't see a game of 4-4 on Sunday lunchtime. I don't see that. Some of the scores that some of the guys have got in here, they got 4-0s, 5-0s. I'm going to think Aaron's going to do okay, but unfortunately he's going to be picking 2 out of the back of the net. It's 2-0 to Liverpool.
Ferg, listen, we've got 2 comments in here. I'm going to put one up. 2 people have mentioned Ramsdale injured as far as they know it. I've not heard anything about this. Have you, boys?
I haven't kept it.
That's news to me. Yeah, the same. I don't really look at their Southampton's injury list, truth be told. But no, I didn't know he was injured. I know he pulled out the England squad, but I thought that was like tactical. I didn't know it was actual injury.
Yeah, well, if Ramsdale's injured, the afternoon gets a lot harder from them. I'm with you, boys. I can't see Southampton getting anything out of the game. I've gone for Southampton. I've gone for Liverpool to beat Southampton 3-0, and I think I'm being very conservative with that. I'm like with most of the people in the chat, 4 or 5, more even. Who knows? Mind you, we said that when Ipswich played Man City this season, and it was a little 1-0, wasn't it, if I remember rightly, or it was a 1 goal in it, if that was the scores.
Ramsdale is among 9 players to withdraw from the England squad because of a finger injury. So I don't know how bad that injury was.
Yeah. Well, we'll soon find out, boys. We'll soon find out. Now then, I've got to be careful now, right? I've got to whisper a bit because I'm in an house full of Man United fans, right? And I think they're listening at the door. So I've got to be careful. Ipswich v Man United. Ipswich at home against Man United, who have been terrible. Got a new manager, so they're going to take a while to get used to the new manager at Man United. Oh, it's got to be an Ipswich win, hasn't it, Ferg?
Yeah, after that momentous victory at the Toilet Bowl 2 weeks ago, was it? Actually, a great game. I watched it with my future son-in-law. We watched the game, and Ipswich played really, really well. Going back to Portman Road, I can see it being a tough affair for Manchester United. They've got a new manager. He's going to try a new tactic. He plays, is it a 3 at the back? Their defence at Man United is pretty average at best. I'm going for a shock. This is the shock result of the week. I'm going Ipswich 1, Man United 0. And you can tell your family downstairs. Nah.
You know what, folks? I'll come to my score in a minute. But, Dale, it's all right, Man United having a new manager. But when you look at the players that he's got there, Rashford's not been trying. Anthony, they paid 100 million for that bloke, Anthony. My Lord, he's a worse signing than Pepe was all day long. Yep. They've got a 5'4" centre half who surely gets found out against the really good teams, don't he? So I reckon Ipswich have got a shout, mate. What do you reckon, Dal?
I think they'll score. I'd certainly think they'll score. I'm going to go with what people are saying in the chat, though. Nobby's mentioned it. Trevor Bibbins mentioned it. Man United can score goals, regardless of how bad they are at the back. They do score quite a few goals. And this new manager, I've been intrigued to see kind of how he settles and what he goes with, because bearing in mind, we've got them in a few weeks' time. It'll be interesting to kind of see, because if he does set up with his usual back 3, that back 3 they've got are absolute tosh. And I think he's in for a bit of a surprise, because he hasn't got the same sporting team he's got there. He's got Man United, and we all know what sort of state they're in a minute. That being said, I do think he'll do a job there. I think give him a bit of time, he'll turn him around. I think the Ipswich result away at them lot was, it's away to them lot, right? It was Spursy. That's what happens there. But I think Ipswich will score, but I do think United will bounce back here with a bit of a new manager syndrome, and I'm going for a 3-1 United win, sadly.
You see, Ipswich are going to be bouncing after that win, aren't they? Ipswich, they've been knocking on the door a few times this season. Yeah, they've had some really bad results, but they've been a bit unlucky in a few games as well. Ipswich, they've been leading or drawing, and they've given away a goal towards the end of the game. And I think they're going to be on a high. They really are going to be on a high. I think the Man United will still be learning how this new manager wants them to play. He's only just come in. And I can see Ipswich getting something out of this game. I really can. I disagree with you a bit, mate. I don't think that Man United are going to be firing on all cylinders up front. I really don't. And I think that Ipswich are going to win with a chance. And I'm going for a 1-0 win as well as Ferg. I'm going to go for Ipswich to win 1-0 against Manchester United, and just hope that I don't get my head caved in when I leave this room and go back in there with all them Man United fans.
I would love that Irish Mick talks about the 6-0 win back in the 80s. I think it was around Alan Brazil's sort of time against United. I'd love if that happened again for Ipswich.
Yeah, Ipswich many years ago under Bobby Robson were an extremely good side, and they were the year that Villa won the league. They were battling toe to toe with Villa all season. Ipswich and Villa, Villa and Ipswich, and Villa ended up pipping them to it. Yeah.
Did they win the European Cup or not? No,
they did. Aston Villa did. They won the European
Cup. No.
Cup.
Aston Villa did, but did Ipswich? They got into Europe, didn't they?
Ipswich. I don't know if Ipswich have won a European trophy, but they certainly haven't won the big one, the European Cup.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to hazard a guess if they have. Quite likely, because they had a very, very good side.
Ipswich have won a European trophy. I'm not sure which one it is. It's they're I listen to early morning talk sport. They're always talking about on there because I'm pretty sure Brazil played for him, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Well.
Yeah, Alan Brazil did.
He lives up that way.
Alan Brazil was part of that fantastic Ipswich team. But I'm sure someone will put in the comments in a minute what Ipswich have won in Europe. But come on, Ipswich this weekend. Let's have a tractor boys win. I'm looking forward to going there a bit later in the season.
Have you had your dinner yet?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Oh, good, because otherwise they're going to lace it with rat poison or something like that.
I don't even drink the water in this house, mate. I have bottled water to stay safe. But yeah, it'll be an enjoyable day if Ipswich win, and I'm looking forward to going up to Ipswich. I've not been to Ipswich for donkey's years, so I'm looking forward to when we play there later in the season.
Can I just add something on that comment I've just seen there on the screen, actually, from Mark Green? I think that's a very good point, So if you look at the last probably 10 United managers since Alex Ferguson, every single time they get a new manager, he's going to do brilliant, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's got his own ideas, he's going to spend this, he's going to bring this person in. That's a very good point, Mark. What's to say this guy isn't going to be any different? He's I think he's only 39 years old, isn't he? He's come from a very, very successful sporting team. I don't know. Only time will tell, but I think it's a very fair comment.
I think he'll struggle with the personnel he's got there. Personally, I think it's going to take him a little while. And if they're happy to finish outside Europe and rebuild for next season, and he's given that remit, I think he'll do all right. But the fact they brought him in so early, I would expect they want him to get back into Champions League spots. They're not far off. They're like 4 points, I think, off. Is it?
Yeah. Listen, that of course, new managers he'll have been having meetings with the Glazers and that other mob that own them now for months. This new manager, he'll have had meetings, and they will have already drawn up a plan of action. They'll know who they're going to get rid of and who they're going to keep, and they've got some massive changes to make at Man United. And I can't see it changing overnight. Yeah, they may have one or two good results, but they ain't got the players there to challenge. I'm sure they haven't. I'll probably be wrong, but I don't think they've got the players there to challenge. But we'll move on. If we move on to the next game now, that'll probably give us 15, 20 minutes on the best game of the weekend. So Newcastle v West Ham up in Geordieland, right? Newcastle have been average, beat us last time, which really annoys me because we didn't play very well at all. West Ham can't seem to kick a ball straight, can they? I don't know what's gone on with them. I look at this game and I'm thinking, well, the one thing I'm not going to do is watch it. I'm not going to watch it because it's not going to grab me. Dal, who's going to win this?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Trevor. This doesn't jump out at me at all. But there are a couple of things that I read about this one which are quite damning on West Ham when they go away. So West Ham Newcastle have lost just one of the last 10 against West Ham, which it's massive on its own. But this one got me. West Ham in the last 28 games away from home have only kept 2 clean sheets. There's lots of talk about their manager already. Their fan base is already looking split, looking divided. What do we do? Where are we going to finish? They think they're a bigger club than what they are, West Ham. They've got a couple of decent players, but it's not long before I think they're going to jump ship and go to bigger clubs. I really do. With that in mind, if it was at West Ham, I'd go for a draw. But this being up at St James, I can't see anything else than a Newcastle win, sadly. I just think that crowd will get behind them. We experienced it ourselves. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Newcastle win.
Yeah, I can see that. Ferg, listen, you live in the land of the West Ham fan, mate. Your local booze is full of West Ham fans.
It is.
Rumor has it, mate. You're good friends with West Ham player, aren't you? Kevin Nolan.
Are you giving them any hope this weekend, Ferg?
Look, Newcastle have lost just one game in the last 10 Premier League games against West Ham. West Ham have failed to keep clean sheets in the last 10 games against Newcastle. As Dale said, like you've shipped goals left, right, and centre. I don't think the fan base are indecisive anymore. I think the fan base are quite united that they're done with Lopetegui. They're calling him like, a Spanish David Moyes. And, be careful what you wish for. David Moyes done a good job and got them a European trophy. Newcastle, they're flattering to deceive. They're okay. 18 points, just hanging on the tailcoats of the European places. I don't think I can see them moving up much further up the table. I think they're going to stay mid-table. That being said, St. James's Park is a difficult place to go to. West Ham can't score for Toffee. They will get a goal, but not enough. Newcastle will get 3, so 3-1.
Yeah, I can't see it being anything other than that, Ferg, to be honest. I think it's going to be a comfortable Newcastle win. I think West Ham, as you say, will get a goal. I love the way Jared Bowen's playing at the moment. I was actually quite pleased for him that he came on and scored with his first touch for England during the week. I was over the moon for the kid because I think he's a class act, and he's a class act in what is a poor team at the moment at West Ham. So I can't see anything other than a Newcastle win. I've gone 3-1 with you, Ferg. So we're all gone for the Newcastle win there, a big Newcastle win. So right, it's down to the biggest game of the weekend. Plus, the biggest, absolutely, in my view.
Should we get ourselves in the mood for it?
Well, you can do. Press the button, yeah.
I will do.
Listen, that's lovely, right? That's lovely. But for once, it never got me that time because I was busy thinking about, I've got my serious face on, I don't know why, but I was busy thinking about the importance of this game tomorrow. For me, this is the biggest game for Arsenal this season, including Europe. We've come off of 2 bad losses now. We need to get something out of tomorrow's game. We need to come back from this international break strong, free-flowing. I'm over the moon to see Odegaard back. I think we need Odegaard, and he showed the difference when he came on for his last game. I'm absolutely gutted that Ben White is missing, boys. I think he's such an important part of our team. The difference he's made when he's come on in games recently has been astonishingly good. He's been amazing. So I'm nervous. I think we're going to win, but I'm nervous about the importance of this game and how we've got to go out there and prove people that the Arsenal are back. The Arsenal are going to start winning games again. Ferg, what's your thoughts on it, mate? How do you feel about this game?
Look, it wouldn't matter who we're playing. The important thing for us is to get back and get 3 points. I'm quite nervous about the game because the fan base has gone a little bit funny at the minute. Not toxic, I say funny. But I think, especially on Twitter sphere and whatever, Blue Sky, X, Z, Q, W, whatever you want to call all these different platforms, I do think it will go absolutely nuts, and there'll be hashtags for managers and everything else if we don't win. Forest are doing all right. The 5th in the league. They've beaten the likes of Man United. Liverpool at their gaff. They don't do too well against us in London, and they're not very good in London. We haven't won in 4 games. We've drawn 2 and lost 2. We have to get back to winning ways. On that basis, I am going heart for sure and head to a certain degree, but 2-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Ferg. I really hope you're right, mate. And I can't put my finger on where we've gone wrong. Well, you can, if you look at the bigger picture. You look at Odegaard missing was a massive miss, and we've not scored so many goals. Havertz has dried up a little bit recently, although he's still playing really well in my view. Still playing really well. The goals, he's missed a couple of, he's not scored for a couple of games, I don't think. So we need to score goals again. We need to score goals and bounce back and start banging them in left, right, and centre. Martinelli needs to hit the target a bit more. He's been having the chances, Martinelli, And just before we move on to Dale, don't take no notice of the social media Twitterites or Xites, as you want to call them. There's always going to be the people on there that call for the manager's head after a couple of bad games, And then people ain't Arsenal fans. They don't understand football. They think that if you lose a game, then you should lose the manager, and they're not worth worrying about. So leave them behind and move on. But Dal, how do you see it going, mate? How do you see it playing out tomorrow, Dal?
Well, starting with the whole club, before what goes on on the pitch, we are in desperate need of a feel-good game, in my opinion. We need something to reunite everybody, both on and off the pitch. There's a lot of talk about, like you say, on X, on TalkSport, on all these other nonsense media outlets, right, about Arsenal have cocked it up and this, that, and the other. And as I said a couple of times before, this is our reset switch, right? If we come back and we win this comfortably, we put on a performance, we score some goals, it's going to get people talking again. It's going to get the fan base excited again. We're excited anyway. We always are, because we love our club. There's a lot of people who aren't, though. And I think because of that's a few bad results drives that. I'm looking for a feel-good game. I'm not nervous about the game, if I'm honest. I'm nervous about what happens if we don't win. That's what I'm nervous about. The game itself, I'm quite comfortable with. And I do think we're going to win. So before I carry on, I'm going to put my prediction out there. I'm going to put my prediction as 3-1 to the Arsenal. But I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm going to go on and say this on a whim. I don't think anybody would be surprised if we went out there and thumped them 5-0. I really don't. Yes, Forest have got a performance in them, but so have we. We've got Odegaard back now, and we saw just how different a team we are when he's pulling the strings up there. Martinelli, I get what you're saying, but he has looked hungrier, and he has put a few more in the back of the net. I think he needs a performance, but we're pretty much at full strength. So I'm assuming that if Timber's fit and Calafiori's fit, like they're suggesting they are, Timber drops in at right back, Calafiori drops in at left back. I think that balances us out, like I've just seen in the comments as well. So I do think we're going to win this game comfortably. I really do. Now, my prediction is 3-1, but I'm going to put a second prediction in on the record, and I'm going to say 5-0, because I do think we need that big win to kind of really drive us. So I don't know. Big prediction there. What's your thoughts?
Well, Dal, you've absolutely done me. You're the first person that's ever had two predictions on the same game.
But you see what I'm saying, right? My prediction is 3-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 5-0.
Right, okay. So we take that. Listen, a couple of points there before we come back to you, Ferg. We're fortunate we've got a bit of time on our hands, right? Mention TalkSport there, right? This little podcast, particularly me, stands up against the massive monster that is TalkSport, right? Always having a go at the Arsenal. And all I'll say to people that listen to TalkSport is, remember, they pay Jamie O'Hara a salary to talk absolute crap on their radio.
We get them for free.
That's how bad they are. TalkSport don't give a toss about football, footballers, fans. They worry about getting people to listen to their shows, click on their social media, and make them more money. So TalkSport can do one, right? Listen, Ferg, coming back to you, right? We've got Calafiori, we've got Timber. I don't know how near to fitness Tommy Yasu is, but even if he is nearly fit, he'll be nearly injured again. So do we get by all right with Ben White? Does missing Ben White have any impact on the team?
I think if Calafiori and Timber are fit and can maintain fitness, I think we're okay. There's talk of KT being Kieran Tierney being
hold that one, Ferg.
Yeah,
stick with White.
But Ben White, no, I think the same months. So for me, I think Ben White's season might be over. So we need to get by without him. Remember, Partey can play in that position. I don't think he plays fantastically in that position, but he can play in that position. But when he plays in that position, it exposes other areas. I'd prefer to if Partey's fit and on form, I'd prefer Partey to remain in the midfield area and use Timber on the right, Calafiori on the left. But it really does. We have got Skelly as well. What's Skelly? Skelly is a midfielder who can play left back. So
he's been playing at the left back when he's come on a lot, hasn't he? and he hasn't let us down. But it's interesting about White, you see, because you say Calafiori and Timber, but they're both prone to an injury. And watching Ben White, when I think over the last few games we've looked a better side with Ben White on the field than we have with Ben White off the field. Particularly going forward, I think he releases Saka more. I think he really overlaps Saka really well and gets the ball moving much nicer down the right-hand side. That's not to say I'm upset with Calafiori or Timber, by the way, because I'm most definitely not. Dal, stick with White, right? What's your views on White?
What about Kivior? Sorry.
Yeah, well, I just want to talk about White for a minute. I'll move on to that.
I think the biggest question there was exactly what Demstek said. If we can keep Calafiori and Timber fit, I don't think we'll miss White. Not because we won't miss White, but because I think we've got more than enough ability in both Timber to cover. It would be Timber mainly, wouldn't it, to cover him? It's interesting, Fergo. You said, you think that might be a season over. I picked up on that when Arsenal said it, actually. Arteta said he's out for months. Didn't say 1 month, didn't say 6 months. So
plural. He said plural, and he never normally, like, you look at Odegaard was out for 12 weeks, and he went, well, we'll assess. I think he's managing us that he's out.
I think you're right. I think you're right on that, because they've been a bit quiet about it. Normally they'd say, he's out for a month or a couple of months, but they didn't. He just said months, which could be anything, right? So I don't think we'll miss him, providing at least Timber can stay fit, because I don't trust the fitness of Tomiyasu. In all honesty, I like Tomiyasu, but I don't trust his fitness. And I think we've got sufficient cover at left back. I think right back is the problem area if Timber doesn't stay fit.
You see, it's interesting, right? In that we've got these players, but I just think we miss White when he's not there. I think he's a special kind of player. But what I want to move on to now, and you two have both touched on it, I've had to pull you off it actually, is that been loads in the news about Tierney being fit now, right? It's been all over the place. Tierney's back in full training for the first time in months. So as cover on the left, we've got Tierney, who never seems to fit Arteta's plans anyway. And we've got Kivior, who's a young lad, learning still, never seems to quite, does well, but not top drawer. So we need a left back. And we all know that Arteta would go for Kivior. I'm pretty sure he would. Who would you boys go for out of Tierney and Kivior?
I don't think you got much of a choice. It would have to be Kivior, because Tierney was back in training on Thursday. The game was on Saturday. He's bound to be injured by then, unfortunately. He is so injury prone. It's unreal. Like, I think he played 27 games, was as most he's ever played for Celtic in a season. I like Tierney, and I think Tierney brings out the best in Martinelli in the way a proper traditional left back, and he overlaps with Martinelli really well. And then you got Kivior, who's a very good defender, very simple defender, but can't get past the halfway line. And it just takes Martinelli out of the game also as well. So it really hamstrings us on that side.
Dal, listen, I want you to answer the same thing, Dal, but I just want to chuck something in there, right? Tierney, does Arteta not want to play Tierney because he doesn't like his game, or because he thinks he can't trust him staying fit for 90 minutes? Which way do you think Arteta thinks on that? Because I think that if it was me, putting myself in Arteta's place, I'd be thinking, I love the way Tierney plays a game of football. I love what he does, but I know he's going to get injured next week, and I don't want to set up next week with Tierney in the side and find myself having to change it in no time, Dal.
I think you two both touched on a key point there. So you both mentioned how much you like Tierney. I think a lot of the fan base does like Tierney. He is that sort of player we can all relate to. He's not flash with all these big cars and stuff, and he comes across as a normal guy. And he's a cracking player on his day. He really is. The problem is his injury record's horrendous. I don't think he fits Mikel Arteta's style of play. I'll tell you a game what kind of really hit home with me about it.
It was Forest away. The game that I was going to think of was West Ham away. Trevor was too busy being on telly at that one.
Wait a minute, Ferg. Let Dal finish on his one, and then you come in with your point at the end.
No, you're right. So Forest away wasn't last season. I think it was the season before, which was when the last time Tierney had a run of injury free. time will call it. We needed a left back to come on the pitch and play left back. If I remember rightly, Partey played right back that game as well. And he made a change. And rather than bringing Tierney on at left back, he switched Partey across to left back and changed the right back position, which says to me that he just doesn't fit his plans. I don't think he has a future at the club, which is sad to say. But ultimately, we need to play players that are going to improve the team. And because Tierney is never fit enough to do so, I don't think he fits in anybody's plans, truth be told. I think the fitness now is mainly to get him sold in January, ideally.
Yeah. When I saw him, it might be that game that you and me were on. Oh, well, mostly Trevor were on TV. It might have been when he got his tats out and everything else. It might have been the year before, Trevor, when we were at it and we're in the corner and we were like front row or whatever, or row 2 or whatever.
Where at
West Ham away.
Oh, right.
Tierney played left back, and like you're reasonably close to the pitch in the away end, at the lower end, at the lower tier, and he was really strong defensively, like clattering into the tackles and everything else. But soon, and Zinchenko, he replaced Zinchenko in the game, so it would have been 2 seasons ago. But to try and watch him play inverted, he just couldn't do it, and I think he got hooked in the end because, as you say, Dale, he is not part of Arteta's plans because he can't play that style of inverted, a more flexible sort of position than just a traditional left back.
I get that. I mean, I honestly think that if Tierney was a player that didn't get injured, unfortunately, it's all ifs. If Tierney was a player that didn't get injured, then he would play a lot more of a role in the Arsenal team at the moment.
I think it'd
be lovely to have him in the squad to back up in the positions we're in now, Ferg.
I think you're probably right, but I think what we would then do is have the inverted player on the right-hand side, because we typically just have this. We do 4 when 4 at the back, but then when in possession we go 3, and that's when they invert and so on. And I think you would have Tierney dropping into there because he's a centre half for Scotland as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and he can play inside, absolutely. But do you know what? I've not said my score yet for tomorrow, and I'm just going for what I'd take. I would take a good old 1-0 to the Arsenal all day long. A win, 3 points in the bank, lift the fans, lift the players, everyone's happy, and we move on to the following week. So
I agree, but I think Dale is right. We do need a bumper win. As much as I've gone 2-0, you've gone 1-0. We need a 4 or 5, something to.
Boys, listen, we've just lost 2 and drawn 2. A win. Yes. You know what I mean? So anyway, that will do it for me. But I'm going to try and stick to an hour. So we've got a couple of minutes. I've got a couple of things I want to say. Firstly, right, everybody watching out there now, and there's lots of you watching out there now, and I really do appreciate it. If you can get across to YouTube and just press the subscribe button, it really will help us. Fergus has taken a little bit of a change of tact this week in that we have allowed YouTube to put adverts on our channel. So I'm sorry if they're annoying you, but they do pay a few pence, and Fergus does do all the outlay for this podcast.
Literally pence.
Dale and myself just sit there, and Dan when he's here and Alex when he's here, we just sit here and do all the talking. And Fergus does all the planning and all the paying. So yeah, we have got adverts on there. And I'm sorry if they annoy you, but please don't let it stop you watching the podcast.
Being a bit transparent, we've earned 7 pence so far. So, and we haven't paid any tax on that yet.
But if people keep subscribing to us, we might get into double figures. It might get to 10 pence. So yeah, that's it. Right, Ferg, we've pressed the button once tonight. Are we going to press it again before we go?
We can, but before we go, I just want to tell you a little story. I was talking to a friend of my wife's the other day, and she was talking to her cousin, and they were reminiscing about her late brother, who was a massive Arsenal fan, and the team actually, and Arteta wrote a get well card to the guy and wished him well, but sadly he passed away. But she was talking about said, "Oh, my friend, her husband, he's a massive Arsenal fan." And said, "All right, yeah." I said, "Yeah, he does a podcast and everything." "What's his name?" "Fergus." "What, Fergus?" I said, "Yeah, I got Fergus and Trev and all the lads. They're on my kitchen TV every Monday night. You might be watching tonight, but hopefully you might listen back. Delano, who lives in Orwell in Cambridge. Thanks for tuning in, and I just want to give you a shout out. So it was quite spooky, that
Thanks. Yeah. Listen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that tunes in. We love doing this, don't we? We spoke, Fergus and myself have had a long chat this week about the podcast. It's Fergus's baby. Fergus started it. I just come along for the ride. But I never ever thought I'd do a podcast in my life. I'm not that kind of fan, but I love this, and I've grown into it, and it's become part of my life, this podcast, just as much as Fergus has become part of my life as well, unfortunately. But I can put up with him because I love him, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you feel we're doing right, please let us know. But most importantly, if you feel there's anything else or we're doing wrong, let us know as well. I'm going to fly into Lisbon on Sunday, and as a little bit of a change, we're going to do a few little 3 or 4 minute podcasts during the week. Just bang them on YouTube, just of where we are in Lisbon. I'm not excited about the ground. I've been there a few times recently. We've been there a lot, but we're going to go up to the ground. I'll do a bit of a chat. My missus is coming with me, so she'll be my camera lady. And let us know what you think about it. If we're going over the top, let us know. We're open to criticism, but we're also open to praise. And I praise Fergus all the time because he lets me do this wonderful thing. Right, I've stopped waffling now, Ferg. Anything else you want to say, Dal?
Nothing from me. Just safe journey to all those, including yourself, Trev, going out to Lisbon. Bring back those 3 points, very much needed. We're going to miss you tomorrow, mate. It's a shame you're not there, but I know the rest of the boys and myself and Ferg and everyone will have you back. We'll be singing loud and proud for you in Block 5. If anyone is about in the game tomorrow, Block 5 will be there from about 2 o'clock, getting the concourse rocking. Come and see us, and Ferg, look forward to seeing your buddy tomorrow in the pub as usual.
Bring money. Trevor doesn't generally do it, so make sure you bring money. Yeah. Listen, that's a huge point. Block 5, Block 28, Block wherever you are. If you're in that stadium tomorrow, we need to hear you. We need to hear this. Come on, Arsenal. Come on, Arsenal.
Ferg, listen.
I don't know about scarves, mate, but we're going to need rain jackets tomorrow by the look of it, rather than scarves.
I'm going to get wet from the inside first.
Listen, right, we've got loads of good things. Alison, new to the show. Alison, thank you so much for watching in. Appreciate it very much. Drop us a line if you want to know. Let us know how we're doing. Mark, one of your best mates is a sporting season ticket holder and personal friends with a sporting owner. Mark, drop me a private message if you can get a bit of hospitality for me and the missus, mate. I'll accept you. Open arms, I can tell you. Listen, and thank you, everyone else.
You're a tart.
Irish.
I remember in PSV.
I'm not finished. Irish Mick always says hello to us, mate. Thanks for watching. Demsek, very loyal watcher, and I'm sorry if I've not named any of you there. There's loads of you in the comments. There's loads of you watching. Appreciate it very much. I'm just going to go to Fergus before I close it because I think he wants the last word.
Yeah, no, I just got to say, if you are in and around Block 5, Block 6, and you see us in there, just say hello. I'll probably be pissed, and I probably won't recognise you, or I won't make any sense. But it's always nice to hear from people. Irish Mick, I've bumped into when he's been over from Ireland. There's been quite a few. Cough, cough. Cough, cough.
Adam, we've got to mention Adam. Adam's always on here commenting. One of our most loyal. Everyone. It's fantastic. We're back on Monday, Ferg, with the
Monday,
show.
7 o'clock. Where are you going to be Monday? How sober are you going to be Monday? And is Donna going to join you, or is your other wife Dan going to be with you?
I will be shit faced in Lisbon,
Are you going to be in that market square again, where you're having all those Euro points?
That could happen, but I just found out today that the bloody Christmas market's on in Lisbon. So, and the missus heard as well. So she's like, peeing her pants with excitement about seeing the Christmas market. I will be seeing the Christmas market, but only through the window of a bar, to tell you the truth. So listen, listen, mate, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You don't get on here every week, and every time you get on, you never let us down. Thank you very much for your input.
Thank you, mate.
Fergus, I love this. Is my turn in it to present. I love having you over on the right-hand side there. Thanks a lot, mate. Right, everybody for watching. I've thanked you loads, but I'll thank you one more time. And don't forget, right, up the Arsenal. Ferg.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.
Yes, Tim Sig. Yes, we will.
Watch out for Kevin Campbell flag in Lisbon.